Some in Puerto Rico say they haven't had a single government worker since Hurricane Maria devastated the island a week ago come to their area. And some people say they're just waiting and waiting for clean water and food. This is Catania, a town just outside San Juan. Officials there say more than half of the people are homeless in the town. One woman told our Garrett Tenney that Red Cross workers came by a couple of days ago and promised they'd be back with food and water, but so far, she says nobody's returned. FEMA officials say it's very difficult to get aid to some areas because of the extent of the damage, but that the United States military is sending thousands of additional service members to help. Fox News correspondent-at-large Geraldo Rivera is live in San Juan. Geraldo?
You know, Shep, part of the problem is I don't think until maybe this morning the president, the cabinet, and indeed the entire American government understood the magnitude of this disaster. They've been sending in aid. It's kind of been trickling in, but we saw the port last night, the port of San Juan, operating at what seemed to be minimal capacity. Even the airport, which is just behind the camera, does not seem anything like the activity you would expect in, say, the Berlin airlift. They don't understand that this is Puerto Rico's Katrina. This is a generalized disaster. We found our old Auntie Ellie, my father's youngest sibling, his 84-year-old, one of the last surviving of my father's big flock. He's one of 17 siblings. We found her in a house, in a darkened house last night with a tree through the roof and another tree blocking the streets. But I have not seen major numbers of federal officials out there doing what needs to be done for this island in crisis, this island in dire straits. You mentioned the United States military, and indeed, the fleet has arrived off the eastern side of Puerto Rico. We took a helicopter out to the aircraft carrier Kearsarge yesterday. They are mustering help for the people ashore where they can locate areas or specific locations where their expertise is needed. We saw one of those locations today in Humacao, a city on the eastern end of Puerto Rico, the Ryder Memorial Hospital, which had been absolutely decimated by the hurricane. Hurricane Maria swept through there and absolutely rendered the hospital inoperable, if I could use that expression. But the Marines and the Seabees, the Navy Seabees, did land today. The emergency generator, they worked at it. They worked at it. They tried to start it. They tried to start it. They tried to start it. Finally, that emergency generator kicked in, providing much-needed power to that hospital in need. The administrators of the hospital were beyond grateful, Chef.
I can't even express the joy. It is, I'm speechless, except that I want to make sure that everybody who's listening to us knows how grateful, how thankful we are for everything, every person, every resource, everybody who we know are working around the clock to help us. The help we need. We are getting up. We haven't closed our doors, and we just are so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, America.
That gratitude is heart-rending and very touching, Shep. But the scale of the assistance these people are receiving does not nearly match the monumental scale of this historic disaster, Shep.
I keep wondering about these areas outside San Juan, the poorer communities, Geraldo, where we really haven't seen reports. And as far as we can tell, well, we really don't know whether they're getting the food and the water and things that they need. Do you know?
They are not. They are not. You know, what comes in on a C-130, these cases of water or these MREs, the meals ready to eat, doesn't begin to match what this population needs. The systems have been crushed. There is no infrastructure. There is no electricity. The frustration in trying to get a cell phone to work on this island. You know, people get so used to the internet. There is no internet here except maybe in this hotel or that hotel. The need is so profound. The need is really so widespread. I think the president's visit is helpful, but we really need that port to open. There's something called the Jones Act. The Jones Act prevents ships that bear a foreign flag from transporting goods from the mainland of the United States to Puerto Rico, which is considered part of the mainland of the United States. Those goods must be carried on U.S. flagged merchant vessels. The Jones Act must be suspended. Every vessel available must be used to bring much needed fuel oil. There's a 6-hour wait at gas stations still. And the people are running generators, so they have to stay on line. They run out of gas in their cars waiting to get gas to fuel their generators. And I think in terms of the public health and well-being of the folks, I think the hospitals are doing heroic, Herculean work here to make them well. What we need are people to put up telephone poles, cell phone towers, to get the electric grid working. And because it's in such awful shape, 70% of it was already out for Hurricane Katrina. We need generators. I told you yesterday, where are the freighters bearing commercial-sized generators? You saw how the folks in that hospital responded when the U.S. Marines and the Seabees, God bless them, from the SS Kearsarge, got that emergency generator working. You know, that brought power back to them. That brought light back to them. That brought power to the ventilators for the people in the urgent care units, in the intensive care units. Power is everything. Power is the building block of modern life, and without it, Puerto Rico is already in the third world the way things are right now. It's going to sink, and sink unless there is massive aid, and I hope the president can rally that with his visit on Tuesday.
Geraldo Rivera in Puerto Rico for San Juan. Geraldo, thanks so much. The president, by the way, considering that act which would allow other ships to come in, even those of a foreign flag.